Hello, I'm Anna Amelia and welcome to another one of our videos from North East Animal Rights on all things vegan. Today we're asking, what will it take for you to go vegan? In the past couple of weeks, we've seen a couple of high-profile cases, one with a footballer Zuma and his cats, and the other one a couple of days ago, the Panorama programme, The Life of Cows. It's been quite interesting as a long-term vegan and animal rights activist to see different people's reactions to each of these cases. One as an animal which is bred. It's a thoroughbred to be a pet, or as we prefer to call them, companion animals. The other involves animals which are bred or who are bred, raised and killed for food. So why the outrage? It is correct that obviously Zuma, the footballer, faces this public backlash and hopefully prosecution as well. Not only did he deliberately harm an animal in his care, but he allowed it to be filmed with a child present. It's wrong on so many levels. What does this tell the child? Why would you film it? Why would you then share it? What sort of reaction did he expect he would get? And why should we believe his story that this was a one-off? Now, another argument, which is, should his team have played him? In my personal opinion, no, they shouldn't have, because they are condoning his actions. He's a public role model, and people will look to him, and he is just shown that animals are commodities, and they don't have to be respected. We know that these animals have been removed from him, and he has suffered lots of financial consequences. He's lost sponsorship deals, as well as the respect of his fans and his teammates. But next we have the panorama expose of the Red Tractor farm, where cows are being deliberately abused in the pursuit of milk for humans. The programme was trending all over social media afterwards, with the comments being divided into 4 specific camps. First of all, people like me who were saying that this is what we've been telling you for years. Dairy kills, vegetarian is not enough. Cow's milk is for their babies, not for adult humans or for human babies. It's for cows. Then there are those who are genuinely shocked and vow to look for cow's milk replacements, immediately vowing to go vegan, which is, of course, what we want to happen. Not just about changing to a plant-based lifestyle, but the whole thing around animal rights and veganism, which is animal advocacy, animal rights, and respect for all animals. Then we have the other camp who says that what we need is higher welfare standards. We need better quality milk, and that they would happily pay a few extra pence for what they see as for higher welfare standards in dairy farming. Then we have the other camp which says that we shouldn't worry about such things, and that there are more important things to be worried about. Obviously issues in Ukraine, and that we can't think about both of these things at the same time. And they engage in online abuse. I mean, some of the stuff that I've here had aimed at me because I posted a comment about the panorama expose. Take your head out of your backside, laddie. Obviously, I'm not laddie, but I need to get help. And this particular gentleman hates pheasant shooting, and that's what we should be concentrating on, pheasant shooting. But actually, we do that as well. But we're talking here about the panorama expose. So let's look at these first sets of opinions. So first of all, everyone should now understand that a cow has to be pregnant to produce milk. They're artificially inseminated. We've said this, I've said this in my videos time and time again, and I'll keep on saying it until everyone in the country actually gets the fact that the cows have to be pregnant to produce milk. They're artificially inseminated by a human who is obtained, in inverted commas here, bull semen in a number of ways. Examples are artificial or electrical stimulation. Another is by forcing a bull to mount an artificial cow and the semen being collected by the farm worker. The semen is then forcibly inseminated into the cow, inserted in the vagina of the restrained cow. The cow then becomes pregnant. It gives birth to a calf. If it is a male calf that she is producing, the male calf is shot. He may end up living a couple of months as a real calf, or you may end up a couple of years as beef. But the reality is these cows are getting killed well before their natural lifespan. The majority of perfectly healthy male calves are being shot. This practice is being made illegal, but we know that it still goes on. Female calves are removed from their mothers within 48 hours, as the farmers do not want the babies drinking milk, which is meant for them, obviously because they want to sell it to humans. We know this causes horrendous separation issues between mother and calf. So this female calf will then herself be artificially inseminated as soon as she's able to, repeatedly until she can no longer produce babies and therefore milk for human gain. So then she will be sent to slaughter. Then we have the other camp, those who have finally realised what we've been saying and now are vowing to ditch dairy and look for kinder alternatives. And there are dozens and dozens out there. Don't be put off because this particular plant milk doesn't suit your taste or taste how you remember it. Once you stop using cow's milk, then your taste buds will change. If you've been drinking cow's milk regularly over the period of your life, you're having it in your tea every day, your taste buds won't suddenly change overnight, but keep trying different ones, different brands, different types, and for different purposes. For example, there are lots of barista types of milks out there now, which are perfect for coffees and teas. I use hazelnut milk in porridge and in hot chocolate, but oat milk is my favourite as well. But again, within each different type, within different oat milks, there are long life milk, which I prefer. There's also the fresh ones. You can have, you can also get it delivered as well. There's lots of oat milk producers there now who actually deliver it. But keep trying them, and find the one or the ones you like and which serve your purpose. But remember why you're doing this. You're not doing it for your taste, you're doing it for the animals. And if you need more backup, more support, more information, watch documentaries and films like Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives, Land of Hope and Glory and Dominion, okay? These are really, really powerful documentaries and will give you the information you need, like the Panorama expose did, in terms of letting people know what actually happens on these dairy farms on a daily basis, not just as one-offs, on a daily basis. So now let's look at the higher welfare argument. It's a bit like saying that, we can artificially inseminate these cows, we can force them to give up calves to give birth to, who they want to keep and they want to nurture, produce milk to sell to us and send them off to slaughter in exactly the same kill flows as those in lower welfare groups, as long as we respect them in between and give them more sunshine and a bit more grass and maybe better food as well. The animals still die. Calves are still taken away in the majority of dairy farms in the UK. So even if we have a situation where calves stay with the baby and we take what we need to sell, does that make it right? Of course it doesn't. These animals don't give consent. If the animals live till they are 20 and had to have repeated pregnancies throughout in order to produce milk, does that make it right? So regardless of whether these calves are staying with their mothers and they're living out their natural lives, they're still being artificially inseminated and impregnated to produce milk. Okay, so what I would say is, why is it okay to take the breast milk of one species for ourselves without consent? Just because we have done over centuries, it doesn't make it right. Things have to change. Things must change. Would we be happy having dog farms or cat farms or guinea pig farms if they could give us milk? Of course we wouldn't. We'd be absolutely horrified with that. So why do we think it's okay to treat this gentle, beautiful animal in this horrendous way? So then we have the final camp that think dairy farming is okay. So what I would say to them is, don't see us animal rights activists as your enemy. We know that you've been doing this for generations and you have a lot of history and money invested in this, but let's face facts. The dairy industry is dying. It is heavily subsidised by the taxpayer and there are so many alternatives now. If you go into any supermarket now, you will see dozens and dozens of alternatives alongside the dairy. And there's actually fewer dairy alternatives now than there are plant milk alternatives. Take a look at Farmers for Stock-Free Farming in Scotland. Take a look at Refarmed, who work with Surge. Look at their case studies into viable alternatives. Any dairy farmer with an ounce of business acumen would be out now researching alternatives, even if they're currently trialling them alongside what they're doing now, because they know that the dairy industry is failing. The help is out there, the success stories out there. So why wouldn't you look at a kinder alternative, a more sustainable alternative, one which doesn't damage the environment and one which doesn't kill animals? So back to what we talked about at the very, very beginning there. What will it take for you as a person to go vegan? We've had two big examples of animal cruelty, one with a non-food animal and one with an animal which is farmed as food. Some of us will also remember the horse meat scandal in Tesco's, an absolute outrage of people eating horses, which they loved, instead of cows, which obviously they don't love. Every time we see scandals like this, we see what is the difference. They all have sentience. As animal rights activists, we are, bemused is probably the wrong word, but we're just so frustrated because we see these animals as exactly the same. That they're all treated differently in different countries as well. Cows in India are sacred. Cats and dogs are eaten in large parts of Asia, but we're horrified when it happens to us. How much of a hypocrite are we when we then drink milk from another species? It's just ridiculous. We also have outrage over badger culls directly linked to the dairy industry, outrage over fox hunting, where animals are killed for sport, for no other reason than just for sport. But then we will go home and tuck into a chicken, into a burger made from a cow. Outrage over mad cow disease, foot and mouth disease, all of these because we are tinkering on with nature and making animals produce products for us to eat, which we shouldn't be having in the first place. How many more scandals must there be before finally people will get that we have no right to abuse any of these animals for our gain, for our financial gain, okay? And what about all these horrific practices which go on a daily basis in slaughterhouses up and down the country and around the world, but which don't make the papers because they are so embedded in normal practice. It's not normal. It is not normal to slit the throat of an animal which doesn't want to die. Who is going to speak for these animals? That's why we need to be vegan, and that's why we need to have more animal rights activists and people actively speaking out for these animals who don't deserve these awful fates. So if you're an animal lover, if you say you're an animal lover, you will respect all animals, not just the cat and dog in your home. You cannot be an animal lover and then go and eat animals. So stop looking for reasons why you can't go vegan and look at all of the compelling reasons why you must be vegan. So I'm going to end there. I hope you find that was useful. Please, if you like our work, like our posts, share our posts, follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Also, if you are looking for an opportunity to come along and talk to fellow vegans and animal rights activists, we have a great event coming up very soon in May, on the 14th of May, in Newcastle. It's called the Tyneside Vegan and Music Festival. That's it there. Okay. And we have a whole host of vegan-friendly traders. We have music from animal rights activists as well, and slam poetry. We have lots of things going on, but lots of opportunities for those who are long-term vegans, for those who are new vegans, and also for vegans, for people who are vegan curious, and for you just to see how normal and accessible veganism is. So thank you very much for listening. I'm going to sign off now, and I am Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights, saying thank you very much and goodbye for now.